Well, I was not going to make a video today at all on the Philadelphia Eagles. I was really waiting to do the shakedown and kind of go into, Sunday and kind of go through that whole thing against the Commanders. But since we're getting closer to the end of the trade deadline now, since after Sunday we'll hit week 9, and this will be the closing point of, now finding out like certain prospects that maybe Eagle fans wanted that are not going to be available, or teams have called and the price may have been too steep for certain players. So it's going to be interesting. But the Eagles have been poking around, and this has been from Dianna Russini. When Dianna Russini talks, we all listen, and she's been right about everything so far. When there are rumors about the Eagles and the trade deadline, she's done a fantastic job. So let's get into the news.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yeah, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So, some things to talk about here, and like I've talked about Dianna Russini coming out with news when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, okay? Now, first time we heard from her was when the Eagles were apparently looking for a top-tier safety, and the Eagles got a top-tier safety in Kevin Byard. That will start next to Reed Blankenship tomorrow, whenever you're watching this. Now, more news is coming out that the Eagles want to make another move before the trade deadline is over, and have been poking around the linebacker position, which that was from Dianna Russini. This is interesting. I mean, I never thought they were going to. Maybe when Dean was out, I thought they were going to get another linebacker at some point or whatever. But it looks like they need an upgrade, I guess. Who's the odd man out? That's the question. Is it Zach Cunningham? Is it Nicholas Morrow? I feel like it's Nicholas Morrow, even though he had one like Pro Bowl-ish type game that he had. I understand, there's a lot more that goes into it, but it's not going to be Nakobe Dean getting benched at this point. The last person that's been on practice squad was Nicholas Morrow, so maybe he is the odd man out. We'll see what happens. But a name that's been circulating a little bit is Jordan Hicks, that obviously won a Super Bowl with the Eagles in 2017 on a season-ending injury. Did not play in the Super Bowl, and has played pretty damn good for the Vikings since he signed there. I forgot what team he signed with before he went to the Vikings, or maybe he was with the Vikings the whole time. I keep forgetting what other team he did go to. But in general, just poking around the linebacker position. I mean, look, training for Kenny Moore was like my top number one thing. But if the Eagles feel like they need an upgrade at linebacker when it comes to coverage and doing some different things that maybe some of our linebackers can't do, because I don't think they're keeping 4 linebackers. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll keep everybody. Maybe they won't put one of those guys to practice squad. So I feel like this is really interesting because really when Nakobe Dean got healthy and came back, I never really expected they were going to go out and maybe get something. So Russini put out other news on this move of poking around. So the Eagles want to make another move even after adding safety and 5-time Titans captain Kevin Byard. I expect Howie Roseman to be busy Monday morning. He's poking around at linebacker. So after this Washington game, it looks like maybe that's maybe the Dolphins game, he's been looking around a little bit. And maybe we'll make a last-minute move before the deadline ends. I think the deadline ends, somewhat middle afternoon on Tuesday on Halloween. I don't think it's later in the week. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. I think the deadline is actually Tuesday because technically it is week 9. So we can end at any day during that week, but I think it is Halloween. So going to be working those phones, or maybe has been, and maybe we'll finalize something before the trade deadline ends. We've been hearing, obviously, the rumors of, Derek Barnett being traded, things like that. So, I mean, anything could really happen at this point. Maybe they add in a package deal with a draft pick and Derek Barnett going to the Vikings to go get Jordan Hicks or something. I don't know. It could be anybody. I don't know. Patrick Queen could be available. I mean, who knows at this point what's going to happen? But it's the last position I felt like they were really going to go after. That was like, I don't know if are they looking because they think they can get more luxury at linebacker, or is this like they definitely need another linebacker? Because all three guys are healthy, and I think they're playing okay. Like, I haven't really had an issue with linebacker the past couple weeks, really. I mean, besides like the Jets game, I think everybody played horrible, but and we definitely overlooked that team. But since Nakobe Dean has come back, fully healthy, I really haven't been harping at linebacker so much. Because I think all of them are playing pretty good. I think Zach Cunningham's playing good. Nicholas Morrow has had some good games. Like, I really have had no problem, really. So, I want to know what you guys think about that. Should be interesting. And this is realistic because a lot of third-party news is third-party news, okay? This is Diana Russini saying this, which she has been locked in 100% right. So, thank God, she's been pretty damn good with the Eagles news so far. And if this is the case, it's going to be interesting. Now, to go on some other players that have been previously available, and maybe the Philadelphia Eagles had some interest, and maybe either teams are going to say that these players are not available because the price was too steep, or, the Eagles never called at all. I know other fans have been wanting these things, and, Derrick Henry has come up, and it looks like he will not be traded, okay? Whether it's going to be not get traded at the trade deadline or at the end of the season, at this point, like, why not? You know what I mean? Why not get rid of Derrick Henry at this point? And with an imploding Titans, I mean, you're holding on a 29-year-old running back, and you're going to run the ball 20-plus times with him. You're going to run him into the ground. He's going to have no value. God forbid, if he has an injury the rest of this season or something happens to him, it's going to be on them. And it's going to definitely hurt his trade value going into the next offseason. I think Henry will be with the Titans for this year, and I think he will get traded or somewhat going to next offseason. So, the Cowboys, there was a lot of speculation on the Cowboys having a lot of interest in Derrick Henry, but it looks like, and this is from Adam Schefter, Diana Russini as well. Cowboys did not reach out. So, I as much as I want him to be here, I got to think to myself, well, if the Eagles don't know how to use these running backs that we have, what are they going to use Henry for? I mean, we have the common sense as fans. What the coaching staff does with these substitutions and why they value Kenneth Gainwell more than Swift on certain aspects of the game when it comes to red zone and between the 20s. And, I feel like you got more juice with DeAndre Swift. You don't even use Boston Scott, and Rashad Penny's just sitting there. Whether the rumors are true that they're going, and Diana Russini did say this about Rashad Penny, if you remember, that they are saving him for a postseason run. But how are you going to use him when the guy's not even getting hit this year? Is this injury for Rashad Penny worse? Is he still hurt from last year? What's going on? That's what I kind of, it's kind of pissing me off a little bit at times. So, just want to get that off our chest that Derrick Henry will not be moved. Or apparently teams have been calling and the price may have been too steep, okay, which they probably asked for a second, maybe they asked for a third. I'm not giving up a second-round pick for a 29-year-old running back that's had a lot of carries. It's had a lot of carries, not much tread, but still has some juice left. Just to see how many more years is the King going to be running for, we'll find out. We had more news on Patrick Surtain. Obviously, Eagle fans, especially when I did my live stream a night or two ago, and everybody was just foaming out the mouth that we would give up a first-round pick. Instead of going to the draft next year and finding a guy, why don't you get a guy that's already proven at a young age in Patrick Surtain as a top 5 corner in the league and just go grab him and kill two birds with one stone? There was Eagle fans that were saying, let's give up a first-round pick for 24 and a first-round pick for 25 and say, screw it, right? Let's just do that. But it looks like the Broncos are not open to trading cornerback Patrick Surtain. In fact, one team source described him as, quote-unquote, the best and smartest player on the Broncos roster, and that's from Diana Russini as well. So, probably not going to trade him. They'd be stupid not to. They'd be stupid to trade him because that's their best player. Probably right. It's probably their best player on their roster, to be honest with you. I mean, the rest of the team is a dumpster fire at this point, but it's going to be very sad because he is just a wasted talent that God knows how long it's going to take to rebuild that team. Or, when you think you have weapons, obviously the Russell Wilson thing didn't pan out. So, Denver needs picks. I mean, that's probably the number one thing they need right now. They need picks. What they gave up for Russell Wilson has definitely hurt their future. And he hasn't really, is he playing better than last year? Maybe. But it's unfortunate for Patrick Surtain's case. Would have loved to see him in Eagles green, but, I was on board of giving a first rounder, for 2 separate years if that was what was going to take. I wasn't going to give away 2 first-round picks and I wasn't going to give away 2 first-round picks. Thank God the Eagles don't have another first-round pick. Then a lot of Eagles fans say, just give up the 2 first. Why not? But no. Two first rounds in 2 different years, maybe. I was almost on board with it, and it sounds crazy, but that's just a decision for. I mean, I'm fine. You know what I mean? I'm good if they don't make it. It is what it is. They probably want a lot more at this point. They might want 2 first-round picks in 1 year. You know, they might be looking at least the Bears or a team that maybe can afford that. But it's no one's going to pay that, right? Nobody's going to pay that in season right now. They'll wait till the end of the year, and see what happens. But I'd give up a few mid-round picks on a first-rounder if that's what it took just to get the future in the building. You get Patrick Surtain in the building. He's here for 8 to 10 years. I mean, boom, it's done. Your outside corner spot is done. With all the other cornerbacks on the Eagles roster right now, Rodgers coming in from the gambling situation from the Colts coming into next year is a pretty good cornerback. Eli Ricks, and there's a few rising players. Eagles are going to be making moves in the secondary come next year, where Avonte Max is definitely going to be out the building with a $10 million cap hit, definitely going to be gone. And you have 2 corners that are aging. Slay is old, and Bradbury is aging at this point. So the next 3 years, you could have 3 new cornerbacks, really, with your outside corners in your new nickel spot right now. So we'll see how that goes. But Patrick Surtain apparently is not going to be moved right now. And that's pretty much it. I mean, we talked about, I think the number one thing that we need to see what happens after the Commanders game is is Harry Roseman really that interested in the linebacker right now? And, we'll see what happens and how much, they've been poking around at it. But they could be looking at other things. If they're poking around at linebacker, they could be looking at other things too. Something that is not being reported right now could be Kenny Moore. And trust me, Kenny Moore to me is yes, need that nickel corner starter and depth. And Roby is still out, so you need to have Josiah Scott is not going to play another game if they sign another guy. It's just not going to happen. He'll probably go back to practice squad, or maybe he'll just get released off the team. I still think you need another depth piece and a starter at nickel, so one of the two. And whether they view Roby or Kenny Moore, Kenny Moore is obviously better. Obviously, way better. So to trade for him, I would be starstruck. I would be so happy, and I think that's more of a value for the Philadelphia Eagles. Getting a guy like Jordan Hicks, is it luxury? Is getting a linebacker luxury? Probably not. I mean, I think they can always have a better linebacker, no doubt. I think what we have is fine for right now, but maybe Howie Roseman wants more. Maybe he wants to add another one to the group. So we'll see what happens. You let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you last us on this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. And appreciate it so much. Just help out the channel out a lot. And I wasn't going to make a video today, but all this news was coming out. And I was like, you know what? Let's add one more for the week before we get ready for Eagles in Washington for the second time, 1 o'clock game. You guys have a great day. I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what falls. Peace out, guys. Peace.